Young girls, we are discussing the ADO.NET database access and how ADO.NET supports the database connection to your .NET application. In this, we have discussed what is the purpose of ADO.NET, what is the role played by ADO.NET we have discussed. Then we also talked about how a database application can be created, in which we have seen a demo program that connects a MySQL database to your .NET application. Then we discussed the different components that are available in the ADO.NET architecture, these different components. So we just touched upon what are these components and what are they used for. Now we are going to discuss in this video, we will be talking all these topics we have already covered in our previous video. In this video, we are going to talk about the different ADO.NET objects like connection object. These are the objects we have already discussed in general. The core objects of the data provider, the connection object, command object, data reader, data adapter, etc. we have already discussed. So today what we are going to do in this video, we are going to talk about the SQL data provider objects as an example for all these core objects. I repeat, as an example for all the core objects of data provider, we have taken SQL data provider objects and we are going to discuss the SQL data provider objects here. The different SQL data provider objects are SQL connection, SQL command, SQL data reader, SQL data adapter. We have already seen for each kind of protocol that we are going to use, if the protocol is ODBC protocol, the API prefix for the objects will be ODBC. If the protocol is OLEDB, then the API prefix for the objects, core objects will be OLEDB. In the same way, if the protocol that you are going to use for the data provider is SQL data provider, then the SQL becomes the prefix. And we have also seen in our example program, the protocol we have used in our example program is the MySQL database. So the prefix of our program, the prefix of the core objects like connection, command and data reader was MySQL. Now here for the discussion, we have taken SQL core objects, SQL data provider core objects. Make a note of it. We are discussing the SQL data provider core objects. So the SQL connection object is used for establishing a connection with a database, which we have already seen. And when you want to make a connection to a database, you need to provide the required parameters. The required credentials to get connected to the database must be provided. So in the SQL connection, what we are going to do, we will have a string called as connection string, and this connection string helps to identify what is the database server name, what is the database name, and what is the username and password credentials, the user credentials. And if you have any other parameters related to the security issues, that can also be specified here. So these are the things required for connecting to the database. I repeat, if I want to establish a connection to a database, you need to provide the database server name, to which database you want to make a connection, what are the user credentials to get the connection, and if you have any other parameters like security parameters, that can also be specified. So whenever you want to establish a connection, these information must be provided here. And as an example, again let me go back to our MySQL, and here in the MySQL we have specified these 4 parameters. What are they? The server name, the database name, the username and password. So we have not specified any security credentials here. The same way, if you are going to use SQL connection also, you have to provide all these parameters. So this connection object is used by the command object. The connection object is used by the command object. Again, let us go back to our example to show you how the connection object is used by the command object. Here, this is the command object we are creating, and you can see here the second parameter is the connection object. CON is the connection object. So the second parameter for the command object is the connection object. So that is what it says. If once you have created a connection object, the connection object will be used by the command object to execute the query. Now the second core object is the SQL command object. This SQL command object is generally used to send SQL statements. All the database queries can be sent using the SQL command object. And whenever you want to have a SQL command object, please remember I need a connection object also. And you can use the command object all alone. You can have it separately. As in our example, we have used MySQL command object as a separate standalone object. Or you can have a reference to the command object to an SQL data adapter. Assign a reference of a command object to an SQL data adapter. We have seen data adapter is used for offline database connection for the data set component. So if you want to have an offline database connection, obviously you will be using a data set, and to populate the data in a database we have to use a data adapter. So what we have to do, when you use a data adapter, you will be assigning a reference of the command object to the data adapter. We'll be discussing this example in another video. Then you have the SQL data reader. Please recollect the points of MySQL data reader. The SQL data reader object allows you to obtain the results of a select statement. So whenever you are retrieving data from the database, we will be using the select statement. So the SQL data reader is used to obtain the results of a select statement by using a command object. You can get the data as the stream. We have seen data readers are always the, I will go back to the slide. We have seen data reader is a stream based forward only and read only retrieve of query results from the data source, for which we are using the data reader. So your SQL data reader is a data reader object. It's a data reader object. So you will get the data as the stream in a sequential manner. So you can have only a forward only and read only data reader. Again, based on that, you can have SQL data reader objects also. Then you have the fourth core object is your SQL data adapter object. This is also a read only object. This is also a read only data object, and it is mainly used for caching data in memory to minimize the number of database calls for data that does not change. Please make a note of it. We use this SQL data adapter only to manage disconnected mode. So whenever you are using the disconnected mode, the data need to be cached in the memory. Why we are using the disconnected mode? So that the number of database calls can be reduced. So you just retrieve the data, store it in your data set, retrieve the data from the database using the data adapter and populate it in a data set. I repeat, let us go back to the slide again just to repeat that concept. We have seen this architecture. Data adapter establishes a connection to the database, so it retrieves the data, and whatever data is retrieved by the data adapter will be populated or will be stored in this data set. So once it is moved to the data set, the connection will be disconnected. So that is why we say it is working in the disconnected mode. So whenever you want to have an offline database connection, or whenever you want to manage the data in the disconnected mode, you can use the SQL data adapter along with data set. This is very, very important. So your data adapter fills a data set object. This is important. So because your data adapter cannot work in a standalone mode, so what it is going to do, it collects the data and it will be filling the data in a data set object when reading the data, and writes in a single batch when persisting changes back to the database. This is very important. So the data adapter fills a data set object when reading the data and writes, whenever it is reading the data and whenever it is writing the data in a single batch, and it will be persisting the changes back to the database. So you make all the changes only in the data set. Make your application, your .NET application will manipulate the data only on the data set, right? So SQL adapter reads the data and stores it in the data set. All the manipulation will be done on the data set. Once the manipulation is complete and you want to make the changes permanent, what it will do, it will again use the data adapter to write the data to the database. So that is how it works. So your SQL adapter will contain a reference to the connection object, and it opens and closes the connection automatically when it is reading or when it is writing to the database. So whenever you want to read a data, automatically connection will be established by the SQL data adapter. In the same way, after manipulation, whenever you want to write it to the database, the connection will be done automatically. And your SQL data adapter can contain command object references also. If you want to have select query, insert query, update query, delete operations, etc., a command object will also be available. So your SQL data adapter contains two references. What are they? One reference will be for the connection object, another reference will be for the command object. And a data adapter can be defined for each table in a data set. So whatever data set you want to have, accordingly you can create a data adapter, and it will take care of all communication with the database for you. So the four core objects are SQL connection object, which is used for establishing a connection, SQL command object, which is used for sending SQL statements or queries to the database, and this particular thing requires a connection object. Your command object can be used as a standalone object, or you can assign a reference to a command object. The same way, the next thing we are having is the SQL data reader object. The data reader object will be used for retrieving the data from the command object. So the command object will be executing the query. Once you have executed the query will be returning a set of records. So these set of records must be stored in the SQL data reader, and you can get the data from the SQL data reader as the stream in a sequential manner, because it is a forward only and read only object. Then you have the SQL data adapter, which is generally used for the disconnected mode. So what it will do? It will be caching the data in the memory. Why it is caching the data in the memory? Because you want to minimize the number of database calls. So because when you are going to have a live connection, something like the SQL command, whenever you want to execute a query like select query, update query, insert query, whatever query you are going to execute, every time a database connection must be established. Whereas in this case, what we are going to do, we retrieve all the data and we store it in the data set. So whatever manipulation like select query, insert query, update query you are going to do, you will not be doing it to the database, the original database. Instead, we will be doing all this manipulation on the dataset object, and all these changes will be stored in the dataset. So once it is completed, what you can do, you can make the changes permanent to the database again by using a data adapter. So that is what is mentioned here. The data adapter contains a reference to the connection object. It opens and closes the connection automatically. When it will be opening and closing the connection automatically? Whenever you are reading from the database, the connection will be opened and closed automatically. The same way, whenever you are writing to the database, the connection will be done automatically. It will open and close the data automatically. And it will contain these kind of commands can be available. So whatever reference command you have created like select, insert, update, delete operations, all these commands can be available as reference in the SQL data adapter, and the SQL data adapter can be defined for each table in a data set. So whichever table you are currently manipulating for the data set, that for which you can create a SQL data adapter also. Now, when you are creating a SQL connection object, what you have to do? You have to declare and instantiate the SQL connection all at the same time. How do you do it? We have seen already a MySQL connection example. In the same way, you specify the class name. This is the object name. Sorry. And use your new operator SQL connection. Then this is what you call as the connection string. This is what you call as the connection string. And specify what is the data source and what is the catalog and what is integrated security. In the MySQL connection, we have used the name and value pairs like server equal to, username equal to, password equal to, database equal to. That is the format for the MySQL connection string. Whereas for the SQL connection string, you have to use this particular format, data source equal to, and what is the catalog. Catalog specifies the database name and the security, etc. And it will use a constructor with a single argument of type string, and this is what you call as a connection string. Okay, so the SQL connection object has a constructor. The constructor will be having a single argument, and this single argument type is a string, and this string is what you call as connection string. I repeat, the SQL connection object will use the constructor for creating the object, and in the constructor you will pass only one argument. The argument is of string data type, and this string is what you call as connection string. So let us see what are the parameters that we use in the connection string. So any connection string will have these parameters. So your connection string provides the information that a provider needs to communicate with a particular database. So if you want to communicate with a particular database, you need to specify the database name, you need to specify the server name, you need to specify the user credentials, and if you have any security parameters, all those things should be specified. So for the SQL connection, these are the parameters that we have to specify. What are they? You need to specify the data source. The data source is generally the server name. It can be a local machine, or it can be a domain name, or it can be an IP address. So here in this example, the data source is given as local. So that means it is the local server that has the database. Then you have initial catalog. The second parameter is initial catalog. The initial catalog is the database name that you have to specify. So in this example, CMSDB is the initial catalog that specifies the database name. Then the third parameter is integrated security, and in the integrated security, if you are going to give the value as SSPI, the value you have given as SSPI is nothing but security support provider interface. Security support provider interface. So in the integrated security, you can give either SSPI or you can give a value like none. If you give SSPI, what happens? Whatever is the Windows username password, that will be used as the user credentials to connect to the database. I repeat, if the integrated security value is SSPI, then whatever is your Windows username password, that will be used as the credentials for connecting to the database. If integrated security value is none, see, instead of SSPI, if you are going to give none as the value, then you have to give user ID parameter and the password parameter. Then suppose integrated security value is equal to none. If you are giving it as none here, then what do? You have to give the fourth parameter as user ID and the fifth parameter as password. But here in this example, I have given SSPI, so I need not give any user ID and password, because this is going to use the Windows login as the user credential. So this is the parameter that you have to give as the connection string. The 5 different parameters. You will have data source name, database name, then the security. If the security is SSPI, I need not give these two. If it is equal to none, then you have to give user ID and password. So if you want to connect to the database server, it is recommended to use Windows authentication. If it is Windows authentication, then you can have integrated security is equal to SSPI, or integrated security is equal to true. When you are using SSPI, then it is going to use the Windows authentication. So this works for OLEDB framework also. And for the integrated security is equal to true, an exception will be thrown. Not only that, for Windows authentication in the data provided, .NET framework for ODBC will be trusted connection is equal to yes. So it depends on whatever kind of provider you are going to use. And you need not worry about like how to memorize all these values. I will be showing you how this connection string can be created when you are establishing a connection to a database. In our practical session, in a demo program, I will be showing you how this connection string can be created, and you need not memorize all these things. So here SSPI is it allows an application to use any of the available security packages on a system without changing the interface to use the security services, and it does not require login credentials because that is generally a privileged operation handled by the operating system. So your integrated security actually ensures that you are connecting with SQL Server using the Windows authentication and not SQL authentication. So if you are using SQL authentication, you have to specify the username and password in the connection string. Okay. So we will be discussing the SQL command objects and how to manipulate the queries etc. in our next video. Thank you.